Okay guys, welcome to the quarterly theory video in this series. Now before I go ahead and start this video, I do want to shout out Trader Day. I will link his quarterly theory video in the description below if you guys want to go see a detailed breakdown on what quarterly theory is. He is the one who came up with this quarterly theory. This is where I learned it from. So I'm just going to break down how I personally use quarterly theory for my bias, to confirm my trade bias, to add extra confluence on my trade ideas, etc. going into the day. Now, I don't use quarterly theory for yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily. What I do use quarterly theory for and in is in session cycles. So the 90-minute intervals that says right here, to get the session cycle, start at each session starting time and split it into 90-minute intervals. Now I'll show you guys how I do that for the New York session because I only trade New York session. Now, quarterly theory, I'm just gonna again just roughly break it down. I'll link Trader Day's video in the description below. Give him a shout out, give him credit, and thank you to whoever made this cheat sheet. I found it on Twitter by the guy that goes by B Pro Cop Chuck. I hope I'm saying your name right or whatever, but thank you for the cheat sheet. I'm just gonna be breaking it down for this video and showing you guys how I personally use quarterly theory. So quarterly theory in a nutshell basically is you're going to have your Q1, your Q2, your Q3, and your Q4. So there's two ways how this can go about. It can either be accumulation, manipulation, which is the one you want to trade, distribution, which is also the one you want to trade, and then Q4, which is a continuation or reversal of previous quarters. So Q4 in this first one right here is going to be a continuation of the distribution quarter or a reversal of the previous quarter. So a reversal of this distribution of quarter three, okay? Or it can be Q1 can be the continuation or reversal of the previous quarter. So once we split the 90-minute intervals, you guys will know what I mean. And then Q2 is the accumulation, Q3 would be the manipulation, and then Q4 would be the distribution. So that is basically quarterly theory in a nutshell, and this goes for all of these. So you could use it on the yearly, you could use it on the monthly time frame, weekly, daily, but I personally just use it for session cycles to confirm my trade bias and trade ideas, etc. Again, guys, I know a lot more models than probably most of you, and I don't solely just use the unicorn model, but again, this series is going to be focused mainly on the unicorn model. I'm just going to show you guys how I personally use the quarterly theory, again, in session cycles. But the unicorn model, again, is one of my favorite ICT trading models because it has such a high win rate and such a beginner-friendly strategy for you guys to learn. So let's go ahead and see how I personally use quarterly theory. So let me go ahead and show you guys. All right, guys, welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I personally use quarterly theory and how I used it to confirm and give me extra confluence and extra conviction on my trade idea that I actually took today. So as you guys can see here, let me go to the 15-minute real quick. We actually had a 15-minute unicorn, 15-minute fair value gap, 15-minute breaker block added there. And once quarter four started, I added another contract here, another two, and then I took it all off at the previous day high. Now, why did I do this? Again, guys, quarterly theory comes in clutch because it gives you that extra conviction and extra confluence that sometimes you may need or sometimes that you might want, right? So the way I break down these 90-minute cycles, I usually just start with the New York quarterly theory for the AM session. There is one for the PM session, but I hardly use that one. I really just use it for the AM session because we have the Asia 4 quarters and then we have the London 4 quarters. So the way you go ahead and break this down so you guys could do it on your charts and you guys can back test it, live test it, whatever, is first you want to find the daily candles open. Okay, this is going to be the first quarter for the Asia range. Okay, so that is going to be 6 o'clock for New York. Okay, so once that new daily candle opens, that's when you are going to want to start marking your 90-minute cycles, right? Once that daily candle opens. So if you notice here on the bottom, it says 15:55. Again, I'm in Central Standard Time. I'm an hour behind New York, just what I'm used to. But as you guys can see here, it jumps an hour, right? You don't see the 1600, you see the 1700. But for New York, I'm going to give it to you guys in New York times. It's 1800, which is 6 p.m. for New York. So you're going to go 6 p.m. all the way to 7:30 p.m. Okay, that is your first 90-minute cycle. And then you break it all the way down to whatever session you're trying to trade. So you just break it down by 90 minutes each cycle. So here you have quarter one, you have quarter two, you have quarter three, and you have quarter four for the Asia session. And then you restart, right? Now you have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four for London. And then this is where I start breaking down my quarters for New York, which is going to be at 6 a.m. New York time. That is when quarter one starts for NYAM session for the quarterly theory. And that is pretty much how you just break down the 90-minute cycles. I usually don't have all these lines. I don't break down the London and the Asia session. I just look at the London Q4 and then I try to determine, okay, what's my Q1 for the NYAM quarterly theory session, right? Like what is the Q1 for NY? I basically just look at the last quarter for London and try to figure out, is Q1 for New York going to be the XAMD model for the morning, or is it going to be AMDX? Because if we look at that cheat sheet again, let me bring it up really quick. You guys will notice it's only one or the other, right? It's going to be AMDX model for the quarterly theory, or it's going to be XAMD, right? X meaning continuation, reversal of the previous quarter. That's why I really only mark out quarter four of London, because I only trade New York. But again, if you're a London trader, you guys could start marking out the Asia Q4 and start breaking it down like that. But it can only be one or the other. It can be AMDX or XAMD. So this is where I try to figure out what is going to be the model for the day in terms of quarterly theory, right? Is it going to be XAMD or AMDX? So if we go ahead and break this down, this is personally how I do it. I'm going to go ahead and delete all these lines so it's not super confusing for you guys, but that's basically how you want to break down quarterly theory so you guys could find your quarters in 90-minute session cycles. That's basically how you break it down. You just wait for the candles opening for the new daily candle. You get that opening there and you start breaking it down by 90 minutes, okay? So quarter four for London here, okay? Now, what does quarter one look like in terms of quarter four from quarter four in London, right? What does quarter one look like? To me personally, this looks like X because we are in continuation mode, in my opinion, of the previous quarter. So of the previous 90-minute cycle, quarter one to me for New York AM session looks like continuation of the previous quarter to me, okay? This doesn't look like it's reversing. This is just kind of just accumulating here. And then the quarterly theory starts for NY here, and then we just kind of continue lower, right? We're continuing lower from London session. So I would mark this as X, okay? This would be my X in the quarterly theory. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as X for NY. And I do this all in like my head. I don't really mark these out anymore. I used to because I was so new to quarterly theory, but now I kind of just mark these out in my head. If I do need to put the horizontal lines, I will. I recommend you guys do so. If you are starting to learn about quarterly theory, go ahead and put these horizontal lines at the at each 90-minute cycle, so that way you guys aren't like super lost, and that way it's a little more clear with the horizontal lines. But so this would be X. So if this is X and I consider this quarter X for NY session, it must be AMD, right? So quarter two does look like accumulation of shorts, and we obviously do accumulate the shorts, and we come down and take out that low, okay? So now this looks like accumulation of shorts. This is going into pre-market of NY session. We're getting into the kill zone, and we're gonna start getting into the macros as well. So now we're getting time and price blended in with our strategy, right? With our trade bias. We have higher time frame PDA arrays that we're tapping into, and this was the accumulation of shorts. We accumulate up here, and then we dump, take out that low, and now the next quarter, right, we're actually also below the true open of quarter two. So if you're not familiar with quarterly theory, Trader Day usually suggests that you buy below true open and you sell above true open. So this would help you gauge your Judas swing in the quarterly theory at the quarter two opening price. So this candle's opening price here. So this is where you would gauge your Judas swing. So obviously this was a Judas swing, accumulation of shorts. We rail down, take out sell side. And now we are manipulating down here. Why do I say this is manipulation? Because if you look at the correlated asset to NQ, you do have an S&T divergence down here. So that is manipulation. That is smart money trying to reverse that. They're giving you a clue here. You see how I'm blending quarterly theory to give me a trade bias and to confirm my trade idea going into the day, right? So we have manipulation in quarter three in terms of SMT, and we start obviously pushing up. And now on the 15-minute, we're forming a 15-minute bullish unicorn. And at the start of quarter four, this is not random, this is super algorithmic. We tap into that 15-minute fair value gap and 15-minute bullish breaker, which is a unicorn. And then we start forming, actually even before quarter four started, we left equal highs. So that gives you extra confluence that price is leaving perfect equal highs right here, right? At this high and these two highs. And then once quarter four starts, we tap into that 15-minute bullish unicorn. And if this is an XAMD model, quarter four should be distribution to the upside. So this is what gave me even extra confluence to enter this trade. Obviously, I entered here, sold all up here at London session highs and these equal highs. And then I obviously bought another two and sold up here at the previous day high because I just seen this pushing up and we were in quarter four distribution. So this looked like it was going to be the draw on liquidity. And that's why I ended up market buying two more right here and selling up there for a nice profit for today. So that is pretty much how I end up using quarterly theory. I just try to figure out what is quarter one from the previous 90-minute cycle for New York. It's literally what I do. Once I figure out what quarter one is, or once I get a good idea of what quarter one is in these 90-minute cycles for New York, that's when I can start building out a trade bias using my higher time frame narratives and using the higher time frames to try and build a trade idea, and then start using the 90-minute cycles for quarterly theory to confirm and give me even more conviction and confluence for my trade ideas. Okay, so you guys can see how powerful this is when you combine the unicorn model with quarterly theory and then all the kill zone and the macros and stuff like that. So that is personally how I use quarterly theory. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. And in the next video, again, guys, I'm going to be passing a 150K Top Step live account just using the unicorn model. So hope you guys are excited for that. That's going to be the next video after this one. Again, these were just little bonus videos, so that way you guys could add to your war chest for trading and your skills for trading, just to give you extra conviction and confluence. So hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will catch you in the next one.